Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, but don't forget subscribe in channel and leave your like. Dolphins make final call on RB Raheem Mostert for 2025. It's the end of a 3-year era. Running back Raheem Mostert will not be back with the Miami Dolphins for the 2025 NFL season. Mostert's agent, Brett Kessler, broke the news on X, formerly Twitter, on February 14. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport retweeted Kessler's announcement. "Looks like my client Raheem Mostert will be playing elsewhere next season," Kessler wrote on X, very thankful for his time with the Miami Dolphins, and this gives them a chance to get younger and gives him a chance to pursue a ring elsewhere. Mostert followed head coach Mike McDaniel from the San Francisco 49ers to Miami in 2022. Mostert played for the Dolphins over the last 3 seasons. McDaniel has been Mostert's head coach, offensive coordinator or run game coordinator for the past 8 seasons since 2017, but that will change in 2025. The veteran running back, who will turn 33 in April, appears set to test free agency. He rushed for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns on 85 carries in 2024. Mostert was part of the speed McDaniel added to the Dolphins' offense immediately after he became head coach. Although 30 years old at the time, Miami signed Mostert to be its featured back in 2022. During his first season with the Dolphins, Mostert averaged 4.9 yards per carry and posted a career-high 1,093 yards from scrimmage. The veteran had an even better 2023 campaign. He eclipsed the 1,000-yard rushing plateau for the first time in his career and led the NFL with 18 rushing touchdowns along with 21 total scores. For his 2023 season, Mostert made his first Pro Bowl. But this past year, Devon Achane became the Dolphins' featured back. By the end of the season, Jalen Wright appeared to move ahead of Mostert on the depth chart as well. Mostert rushed for 3.3 yards per carry in 2024. Other Dolphins running backs also struggled with their efficiency, but Mostert's average was the worst of his NFL career. The Dolphins have yet to make Mostert's release official, but the team will presumably cut the veteran running back before the start of free agency. That will allow Mostert to search for a new team and create more cap space for the Dolphins. Miami is going to need all the cap space it can get. According to Spotrac, the Dolphins are ranked 30th in available cap room and are one of 7 teams already above the cap before the start of free agency. That means the Dolphins must cut players just to be able to sign their incoming draft class, let alone free agents. As of February 14, the Dolphins sit about $15.9 million above the salary cap. According to OverTheCap, Miami will save roughly $2.95 million in cap space by releasing Mostert. Before considering the Rule of 53, the Dolphins will incur a $1 million dead cap hit by cutting Mostert. The veteran running back signed a 1-year, $4.13 million extension prior to the 2024 season. He joined the Dolphins on a 1-year deal in 2022 and then signed a 2-year extension prior to 2023. Mostert rushed for 2,181 rushing yards in 45 games with the Dolphins. He also scored 28 touchdowns. Mike McDaniel may not have the resources to save his job with the Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have a lot of problems right now, and while Mike McDaniel may not be an immediate concern, the fallout from these issues will land on his coaching shoulders. Miami is not undergoing a rebuild, but by the time the 2025 season rolls around, it very well may look like they did. Chris Grier has not done Stephen Ross, McDaniel, or himself any favors with the way he has handled the salary cap and the maintenance of the roster. It's pretty sad when the longest tenured draft pick on your team is a 7th-round kicker, and that is only the small parts of the problem. Grier has managed to push money from 1 year to the next and buy time and operating capital, but he may have finally pushed too far. The release of Kendall Fuller surprised no one. Nor did the releases of Durham Smythe and Raheem Mostert. Those 3 moved the Dolphins' cap needle, but not far enough. Miami entered the weekend $13 million over the cap and now sits at $5.4 million over. The NFL will release the new cap increase soon, but the Dolphins still have to make big moves, and they simply don't have the roster to do it. All three releases, while expected, created more holes on a roster that Grier will struggle to fix. For McDaniel, a critical season could put his back against the wall before it begins. The offensive key will still be Tua Tagovailoa. If he stays healthy, the Dolphins will have a chance. McDaniel still needs to get something done with Tyreek Hill's involvement, as he has become nothing more than a high-priced decoy. Miami needs to fix the offensive line, and if they don't, Tua will be under pressure and the running back will once again be an outside sprint to the corner and nothing more. Defensively, it could be worse. Anthony Weaver won't be held responsible for the personnel he has to work with, but if the defense slumps, so will his head coaching chances next year. The Dolphins are thin along the defensive line, have two linebackers coming off major knee injuries, a secondary that is missing one starter with no one on the current roster ready to step in, and two starting safeties likely leaving in free agency. Add the cap problems and Grier's inability to consistently draft immediate contributors, and McDaniel's team may look like it was pieced together from the scrapyard. That's not a recipe for turning around a team and changing the culture. Micah Parsons tries to recruit Tyreek Hill. We don't have state income taxes. Last night, the Miami Dolphins lost 32-20 to the New York Jets and finished their 2024 campaign with a record of 8-9. The season was full of ups and downs. Mike McDaniel's electric offense never hit the ground running. Tua Tagovailoa missed time due to a concussion, but the biggest plot line of the Dolphins' disappointing season was Tyreek Hill. Towards the latter half of the season, the veteran wideout was active on social media by teasing his possible retirement and his departure from the Dolphins or reacting to trade destinations for the Dolphins finale. Hill exited the game early and finished with a stat line of 2 receptions for 20 yards. In a post-game interview, the fastest receiver in the league made it clear that he would be looking out for himself this offseason and that he was out. Then this morning, Hill changed his X/Twitter profile picture to Antonio Brown, more specifically the moment Brown quit on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the middle of a game. Hill still has 2 more years under his contract, but he has made it abundantly clear that Miami is no longer his home. While there have been no reports of the Dolphins listening to trade offers, that hasn't stopped players from reaching out. Dallas Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons was clearly aware of the waves Hill was making on social media. Earlier today, Parsons took to X to recruit the All-Pro receiver. "We can be the fattest duo in the league," Parsons wrote. The Cowboys defender made sure to add that Texas doesn't have a state income tax. Parsons ran a 4.36 40-yard dash, while Hill ran a 4.29 at his NFL combine. Those times were called into question during the 2022 Pro Bowl games when Hill, Parsons, Nick Chubb and Trayvon Diggs competed in a race. Parsons, who was a rookie then, came in first. Will this actually happen? Not at all, and it's kind of laughable. This past season has shown that Jerry Jones won't open up the checkbook for free agents, and when it comes to paying his players, there's a delay. That delay ultimately leads to a bigger payday, which hurts the Cowboys' cap space. I mean, CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott weren't paid until the eve of the 2024 season. Besides Lamb and Prescott having record-setting contracts, Hill also has a lot of zeros in his check from the Dolphins. On August 3, Hill and the Dolphins agreed on a new deal worth $90 million over 3 years, with $65 million guaranteed. The restructure did not add more years to the previous contract, but bumped up Hill's guaranteed money to $106.5 million, which is a tab that Jones will not pick up. And you fan? Do you think about Tyreek Hill's situation? Write in the comments.